you live on the screen.
Oh, there it is.
Hello, hello, good people. We are live on this beautiful Friday morning after a dumping of snow here in Toronto. My name is James Robert Elliott. I have Vanessa Bell here as well as my co-host for this live discussion. And we're going to be talking about mind and body and why it's so important, why you need both to really thrive in your life, have massive success in your life, in your business, your career, in your relationships. And I'm so excited to have Vanessa on today because, again, you need both. You need mind, you need body. If you don't have both, if your mind is great and your body doesn't work, well, that's not good. If your body's great and your mind doesn't work, well, again, you're not going to get very far. Again, we need both. And I'll even chime in later about the feedback loop because, of course, you know your mind controls your body. All right, I want to snap my fingers. Your mind controls your body. However, there's a massive feedback system in our body, and our body also controls our mind. And you can really use that, and we'll give you some hacks on how to use that powerfully, and we'll talk about why that's so important. And using both is so important. Otherwise, you're like in a boat with one paddle. You know, you're going around in circles. You're not going in. You need both paddles. So, welcome, Vanessa, and I'm excited for this talk. Again, body and mind, unleashing your potential, why you need both to thrive. And Vanessa and I were talking this morning about really a theme of empowerment, a theme of therapy, a theme of coaching, a theme of teaching. And we're having a great dialogue. And again, why adding movement and why moving is so important. I mean, there's so much proof that exercise, not just being in a gym, but even walking, and I'll let Vanessa talk to this because she's the expert on that, but it's one of the best antidepressants there is. It's one of the best anti-anxiety there is, literally movement and just being active. I won't even say exercise, just being active. So we'll talk a bit about movement later as well. And we both have, it's interesting, I have the theme, unleash your power, unleash your potential. Vanessa, you of course have the unleash theme. Remind me, what's your unleash theme again?
Yeah, it's Unleash Your Design.
Perfect. There you go.
Mm.
So yeah,
Mm.
unleash it. You want to design a perfect life, an amazing life for you? Time to unleash it. So we both have this whole unleash theme. Um, what would you say, Vanessa? What would you say unleashing is all about? What does unleashing mean to you? What is unleashing?
Yeah, thank you. So the term for me, Unleash Your Design, is, if I'll just touch on design for a second, because the human body is so beautifully designed. There's so much um, movement potential, athletic potential in every single one of us. It's not like some people have can move well and others can't, and that's just the way it is. It's actually sitting in our bodies, and where our bodies are incredibly learnable.
Yeah.
So the unleash part is about um, kind of untethering or removing what's getting in your way of living the design. And so much of our work, I find, is about teaching people the ways in which they're getting in their own way,
Yeah. Yeah.
so much more than, oh, just learn the right things to do. I find if you only learn the right things to do and you never become conscious of the way in which you're blocking those, you're kind of doing two things. You're kind of doing the right thing, but you still have this resistance. So it's about also really finding what is the resistance, what's getting in your way, so that what you do well, you can just optimize the potential of that.
Well, exactly. It's kind of like running on a treadmill. You're running forward, it's going backwards, and you're really not going anywhere. And you're right. I see that a lot. And I had a quote in my brain, and it's escaped me. But oh, there it is. Thank you, unconscious mind. Basically, the quote is, the human body is the only machine out there that works better the more you use it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so true, with obviously with boundaries, if you're killing yourself that. But if
Yeah,
without boundaries, it's the only machine that works better over time and works better with more use, right?
yeah,
Versus a car or a wheel or something, it's going to eventually get rusty and burn out. And
yeah, yeah,
so you
yeah.
raised a really good point as well. And it's so important. And I think movement, just moving people, when I was a nutritionist, I was talking about water intake and healthy teas versus, like black tea or coffee that tend to be diuretics. And this woman had said to me, I can't drink that much water. I'll have to get up and go to the bathroom every 3 or 4 hours. And I'm like, what? I'm like, you don't get up every 3 hours just to get up? She was sitting, and that was, of course,
Mm-hmm.
affecting her health for hours. So I think our theme of movement today, movement and mindset, mind body, is so important, because the more you move, the healthier you are, the better you feel. Again, the less depressed you feel. Again, it's the best antidepressant, scientifically proven as the best antidepressant, with positive, not even no side effects, positive side effects, and the best anti-anxiety as well. I mean, if you go for a run or do something intense, hit training, skipping, jumping, your anxiety, you'll be in your body, you'll be present, your anxiety will be gone, because you'll be super present to what's going on. So yeah, amazing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
else you wanted to add about unleashing, about movement?
I'd like to know how you think of unleashing. What's your use of that word?
For sure. So you're right, because we all get in our own way. I mean, I still do it. I've mastered a lot of these tools, and I still do it, right? I'm a teacher, trainer, I'm a speaker, and I still do it sometimes, because we're not perfect, right? And yeah, but the good important thing is I have the tools to work through them. So with that being said, just so that no one's judging themselves, we all self-sabotage sometimes. So unleashing to me is literally getting past of what blocks you, whether it's external or whether it's internal. And usually it is internal, or it's something external that we think is a barrier, we think is a wall, but we just have to find a way to go around it, or above it, or below it, or maybe even through it. And that's the thing. A lot of people, get into this. Oh, I can't, or I'm not ready. It's not the right time. Oh, I can't afford it. I'm trying to think. I can't because blank, or I'm not good enough. I can't do it. I'm smart enough. And it's all it's all BS basically. It's all BS in order to protect us and keep us away from those amazing things. Because, well, if we want something and we know we need to do it and we don't do it, usually we feel pretty crappy, or we
Yeah.
feel pretty shitty if we don't move towards these things, and we're not doing what we know we need to do. We feel pretty crappy. So then the excuse is, oh, it's not the right time. Trust me, guys, if it's in front of you, it's the right time. That's why it's there. The universe or God or whatever you believe in life would not have put it in your path if you weren't ready. It's just magically showed up. Oh, I'm not ready for that. Well, that's why it's there. So anyways, basically, yeah, all these excuses are ways for us to, I guess, justify not doing something and help us feel better about not doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Booze that helps with that too. Drugs, food is one of the biggest drugs there are. So all
Mm-hmm.
these things get in our way. And so unleashing, to make a long-winded prelude start end,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
unleashing is really allowing yourself to be untethered
Yeah.
and to get past, and just to move, just to grow. Speaking of movement, just to move
Yeah.
and to grow and to take action,
Yeah.
right? And unleashing reminds me of when I was in Thailand, and they had, they had elephants. I was taking care of elephants for a few days. Coolest thing I've ever done. So taking care of elephants for a few days, and at night they would take them back into the bush. They could be in the bush, and they have a long rope or chain on them, and they have a little stake in the ground just so they wouldn't run off too far, and they could still move around and do what they wanted. And I said, this is a massive elephant. How is this little stake in the ground with a wooden stake and this rope or this little chain, like the elephant could sneeze and blow it apart?
Yeah.
And they said, well, as adults, yes, but when they were babies, when we tethered them and we tied them with the rope or chain, they couldn't break it as babies. So they grew up thinking, okay, this tether, this leash, I cannot break. And so that's why thousands of pounds, huge elephants that can roll a car over. They think,
Conditioning.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
condition, their program, they believe these limiting beliefs. They believe
Mm-hmm.
they can't, so they don't wander off. They can't break it, and literally, it's as real as concrete to them. How and that translates to our story, where that story translates to us is same thing. We don't believe we can do something, and your friend, if they're a good friend, or someone says, of course you can, of course you can do it, go do it, just do it. Or your mentor, whoever, says, of course you can do it. And we think, oh no, I can't do it, because we've been programmed or conditioned to believe, or someone said we're not smart enough, or not good enough, or that won't work, or you can't do that, usually a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it gets programmed into us. So unleashing is literally taking that leash, because that little tiny rope for the elephant might as well be a 4-inch thick cable that they can't break,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
For us as people, again, it might as well be a leash tied to a stake in the ground that prevents us from moving and taking action. So again, unleashing is literally breaking free of the things that hold us back. It's all internal, even though it's perceived. Okay, yeah, there's objects, there's barriers in life, absolutely, but and we all have them.
Hmm.
Why do some people, 5 or 6% of the world, why are they rich if that's your measure of success? Why are they successful, popular, influential, helping the world, making a huge impact? Why can they do it? They've had barriers too. It's not that, these successful rich people haven't had any barriers in their life, they're so lucky. No, that's a bunch of
Hmm.
crap.
Hmm.
They have their barriers, they found ways to get past them and said, I'm coming through no matter what. I'm going to do this no matter what. I'm pretty good at that. I've had a lot of stuff try to stop me in my life, a lot of crap, and I guess I'm used to stuff. It's like, oh, here's just another one. Let me just blast through this. I'll find a way to blast through this. And so many of us give up right before there was a study done. So many. It's called the 6 inches to gold, and
Mm.
it was done by not that I want to turn this into a metaphor session, a story session.
No, but I'd love to run a metaphor off your metaphor if
Please do.
if
Yeah,
if you've
it's,
got one.
6 inches from gold. Most people give up right before they're successful. It's unfortunate. So unleashing that, breaking through that, and being successful. So go ahead,
Yeah.
please
So
share
can
your.
I do two
Please
metaphors?
do. Please.
I like metaphors. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is the caterpillar makes its cocoon.
Mm-hmm.
It goes in and it turns to goo. Like before the caterpillar turns into the butterfly, it turns to goo. It emulsifies. It ceases to be what it was, right? So that it can become the next thing. Now, if you were to help that cocoon open, that butterfly will never be able to fly because it actually needs the struggle. It needs to push itself out. And that's what pushes the liquid, the fluid into its
Yep.
wings
So it opens up, right? Yeah.
so that it can fly, right? It's that extra final push. And you've just come out of this cocoon, right? Like,
You've been working for this for
right, yeah,
yeah,
like and you got to push out of comfort. You got to push through all of that so that you can fly, and nobody can do that for you,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
if somebody else does it for you, you might not actually even be able to do what you could,
Sustain.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then there was this other interesting thing. So my partner Justin and I, we were building some stuff for our studio. We are building a climbing wall and all that, and they had to drill through, I think it was like half-inch steel or something. So you've got him and our carpenter, and they're both having to lean on this drill to get it through, right? And then what he noticed is right before it's about to push through, it gets really hard. And that's when they had to like really push. But you also have to keep your wits about you because you can't just push so hard that you're not focused, because when it breaks through, you still have to have control,
True.
right? And so it was just like, wow, isn't that life? Like you're this close. So
Yeah.
it's every now and then, like we'll notice like a particularly hard moment and be like, oh, this might be the pushing through the last bit of the steel moment. Might be what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a test of life to see how much you want it, and if you're really willing to go for it. Um, I won't say deserve it because we all deserve happiness and success. It's just, yeah, have you earned it, or are you gonna, if something else comes, are you gonna give up, or are you gonna
Yeah,
push through no matter what? You're right. The
yeah,
closer you get to something, the harder usually the harder it gets, and
yeah,
overcoming that is just is just it's magic. It's amazing, and it's a wonderful metaphor. As you're right, because I love the butterfly story, because of the researchers, they tried to cut the chrysalid and let the butterflies out, and they died. They couldn't fly. So
yeah,
great metaphor, great
yeah,
metaphor. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it's a shame. It's just, and I think the more you move your body, the better your mind works, and the better you move your mind, so to speak, and work with your mind, the better your body works. Because then you do get out, you do get active. You don't get excuses, say, oh, I'm too busy, or I can't do this. Go for a 5-10 minute walk. Are you too busy to go for literally a 5-10 minute walk? It's sometime through your day, and maybe another one, just anything, right? So I love it. I love
yeah,
it.
yeah. And I think that's the hard thing is when you have been sedentary, the last thing your body wants to do is move. Even though on some level it's screaming for it, on another level it's like you've been mentally stimulated, so you are feeling kind of sluggish. So it's like, how do you just still go, like even I think for people, they struggle with, they wait until they feel like going for a walk,
Right. Which
and the
never
reality is that
happens.
feeling is likely not coming. Don't shoot for that feeling. Just the feeling comes kind of later in the walk, and shoot
Yeah.
for that
Yeah. Wow,
feeling,
this feels great. Wow.
right?
I feel so great now that I did that. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like Tony, I mean, people get in their heads, into your point. Oh, I'm waiting till I feel ready or till it feels right. It'll never happen. Never.
No, it's not coming.
No, exactly. They'll wait for, and that's what happens. Many people wait for. That's why only 5 or 6% of people in life truly get what they want, because people wait forever. Like, well, I guess I won't do it. Or it's not the right time, or I don't feel like doing it. I mean, success in life a lot of times is doing things you don't feel like doing.
Mm-hmm.
That way, you can get to doing things you do want to do.
Yeah,
And I mean, being in our heads, and as Tony Robbins says, if you're in your head, you stay in your head, you're dead. If you're in your
yeah,
head, you're dead. And really, just because feelings are just data. It's not whether you should make a decision or not. People, we listen to our feelings and we say, well, when it feels right, or when I feel ready, or when I feel like I should or could or whatever.
mm-hmm.
That's a recipe for disaster and a very bland or unsuccessful or unfulfilled life. Now, not that you have to do crazy things in the world to be happy. I'm not saying that. However, yeah, it is a recipe for a
You do
very,
have to move.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah. It
do
was
have to.
figuratively, metaphorically, literally.
Yeah, you do have to move. What's that? The Bruce Lee quote? Still water grows stale.
Yes, yes, yes.
And we're what, like 75 to 80 to 90% water, depending on who you
Yeah.
talk to. Still water grows stale, right?
Well, and, even your lymph system, your body,
Mm,
one of the detox and fluid return systems, you got to move. It doesn't, there's no pump for it. You got to move. And that's why you get,
yeah,
cellulite and things and pooling of different things, different areas. You got to move to
yeah,
make that work.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Literally stagnates in your body if you don't move. So,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
There was another theme, unless you want to touch any more on the movement and unleashing theme. We had another theme we wanted to talk about, which was kind of coaching, therapy, mindset, self work. We wanted to. I know you asked me a great question about that before, and I'm not
Can I
sure.
repeat? Can I repeat the question?
Please do,
Can I
please
repeat
do.
the question? Okay. So one thing I was noticing on your website is you've got executive coaching, life coaching, NLP coaching, and I do know that you teach coaches.
Yep,
So
myself.
so so I
Yep,
say, yeah. So I say that even though you yourself do not do the coaching, but there's this coaching
yeah,
aspect to what
definitely.
you do. You're
Definitely, we
teaching
have to get coaches.
coaches, and then you've got timeline therapy and hypnotherapy. And that really stood out for me, because it's very much in line with my my partner and our work, and some of the small changes that I'm seeing in the fitness field as it moves into more functional movement, is
Sure.
there's starting to be this blend now of coaching and therapy.
Which
So
I
it's
love that. See that.
right, it's like if I'm doing a movement with a client, and I can see that maybe their squat pattern, there's some type of deviation of their knee, or da 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 da. I could sit there and bark at them to just keep your knee in line, keep your knee in line. Or I could say, hey, let's get on the table, do a little bit of therapeutic work for your foot, maybe your hip, and then you come back, and then now how is this exercise going? So there's this balance. I really think what we all actually need is a combination of both
Yeah, I agree.
therapeutics and
Yeah.
coaching and teaching, and it's about how do we find that balance. So what I'd love to hear from you is, why have you kind of chosen this? It's an interesting thing that you also have this combination, of coaching and or teaching coaches at least,
Yeah.
and therapy. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so it's a great question. I mean, therapy is an interesting word too, because it's really, I think anything can be therapeutic. I mean, meditation can be therapeutic. I don't know if it's classed as officially as therapy, but yeah, anything can be classed as therapy. And I think, and certainly, the tools like timeline therapy, for example, or hypnotherapy have that therapy word in them. Um, I guess because I guess there's specific techniques, specific interventions,
Mm,
per se. Whereas coaching is more of a I don't want to say general because that's not what it is. It's a kind of a multi-tool, multi-dimensional coaching. You can be a great coach and have multi-tools. In my case, I have NLP that I teach and my coaches coach with, hypnotherapy, timeline therapy. I mean, we use something called the Sedona method as well.
oh, I've done
Uh,
some Sedona
yeah,
stuff.
Sedona is really
Yeah.
cool. There's that. There's the power process I've developed, combining several tools as well. And so I think coaching is really great because it first of all looks at someone as not broken. A lot of therapy and therapeutics and disciplines look at someone as, well, we need to fix you, bro. In the traditional medical system, you're broken. You need to be fixed. You need to be
Mm,
you need to be cured. right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
coaching sees people as you're perfect, you're awesome, you're magnificent. It's just like you have everything you need. It's like a puzzle that's been spilled on the floor. All the puzzle pieces are all over. So as coaches, we
Mhm.
help you figure that out, and again, blow through, again, depending on the tool set as a coach, blow through anything that limits you, anything that holds you back, limiting beliefs, again, depending on the tool sets the coach has. And that's why I love my tools: NLP, timeline therapy, hypnosis, the power process I've developed. And what I teach to my coaches is it's so great because it deals with the unconscious or subconscious mind, which is 95% of your brain,
Mhm.
versus, and I don't want to, I'm not putting anyone down, but just often talk therapy, or being in her head. Let's talk about the problem and how's the problem today, and let's talk about it. How does it make you feel? What are you thinking about the problem today? How's it affecting you today? Talk therapy, I don't think is very useful. This is my own opinion. I don't think it's
Mhm.
very useful because it's just the 5% of your brain that says, yeah, I really should lose weight. I really should get active and move. And I should hire Vanessa for movement and help me work and work in my body and movement and be fitter, stronger, lose weight, whatever. And I really should, get out there, and I really should have boundaries, and I really want to be more successful and start a business or whatever you want to do. That's that 5%. I really want to do this and do that. I'm going to go for a walk today versus sit on the couch and watch TV and drink beer and eat pretzels.
Mhm.
But the 95% of your brain is really the what's in control. It's the goal getter, and it's what unconsciously, when you say, I'm definitely going for a walk, I'm definitely getting up early tomorrow morning, working out or meditating, I'm definitely going to walk up to that beautiful person and talk to them. And then the unconscious, the 95% says, no, 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 that's
Mhm.
scarier, that's dangerous, or that makes us feel uncomfortable, that might blank, or we may have, this might happen, or that may happen. So I think that's where coaching looks at things as a, I don't love the word holistic, but a wholesome maybe view, or a whole view, and
Mhm.
looking at life from a whole view, and maybe even including some movement in that versus just a specific, one specific tool. Uh,
Mhm. Mhm.
there,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm. Mhm.
that's why I love coaching, because it's so flexible. It's what do you need today, and I love coaches that have a lot of tools, a lot of in their toolbox. That's why people often come to me. It's like, hey, I want to be a coach. I know that I can get a whole stream of tools from you and trainings, or I'm already a great coach. I want some more tools, some more trainings. So that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
So that's, I think that's a difference between therapy, because therapy can be anything. Anything can be therapeutic. Meditating, Wim Hof, sitting in freezing cold water can be therapeutic. Versus coaching is literally working with someone on an ongoing basis, on a powerful basis, and looking at their entire life, and treating the person, if you will. Not that I guess we don't treat anyone. We help people,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
helping the person versus helping the diagnosis or helping the problem.
Yeah.
Looking at the person versus looking at the problem is a really great way, and that's the difference between coaching and some of the other therapies. I don't care about the diagnosis. It's as I'm going to work with you and what your limits are, what your limitations are, where you want to go, what your desires, what your goals are,
Mhm.
and a very individual approach. And that's why coaching is so effective. That's why it's growing at such an exponential rate. And there's a lot of accountability as coaches we can do that some therapists can't give as much accountability. We can have really whatever works. I do
Mhm.
whatever works to make people accountable, because you need the carrot, the rewards, and you need the stick, and that's a popular thing that a lot of people don't use as well as rewards and
Mhm.
accountability to make sure people keep moving in the right direction.
Mhm. Mhm. Um, so I have some experience with NLP.
Yeah, you were saying.
Can I share you my experience
Yeah,
in
yeah, please.
NLP? So it's interesting because I haven't talked to like an NLP person in a really long time. I did NLP, and it was just like an intro weekend or two weekends. Um, and it was in my 20s, and it was at a time that I was also mentally quite chaotic. I was in my 20s.
Fair
Um,
enough. Yeah, exactly.
um, and so to have something that actually kind of made me sit still and listen for a second, and that actually kind of got in there, that alone is I'm going to call that a powerful thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of things that could get in to permeate my mind at that time, and this did. And what I really took from it is this linguistic component. I'm very much about language, and I think NLP
Words have
plan
power.
I think NLP planted was part of what planted these seeds
Cool.
around how about how am I using my language, and how is my language use shaping how I take in the world? How is my language use shaping in a helpful or hinderful way how I take in myself, or how I communicate about my own situation? Is it accurate? Am I embellishing, negative things that maybe that's not so accurate? And so it was really kind of asking me to question my language use, and are there ways in which my language use is getting in the way of my clear perception of myself and others in the world, and also my optimal perception
Right
of
on.
myself, others, and the
Yep.
world.
Right on.
And
Right
it's
on.
very much become, in many ways, fundamental to the way I teach. And so I'm also working with people on how they're using their own language when they're studying their body. Like if they say something like, we're doing a movement, and they say that's impossible, that may not actually be true. It might feel impossible
Yeah.
in the moment, but if we say that's impossible,
Then it is.
are we closing off the possibility of you finding that movement? And it's my job to know, like, according to the design of the body, am I asking them to do something impossible? Like, that's my job, is to understand the body, and then to learn their particular architecture to see what's possible for them. And it's about catching those moments, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
so that was my experience of
Very cool.
NLP, and I'd love to know what you think about that. Did I even take away the accurate things?
And I mean it's amazing. NLP is it not necessarily a thing. It's an entire field. It's an
Mm,
entire way of looking at life differently. It's tools and techniques and strategies to really literally do anything better. And all my graduates would vouch for that. Really do anything you want better, NLP will help. And I literally will guarantee that to people. It'll help you do anything better, because to your point, it's about understanding how your brain works, how your mind works, how others' minds and others' brains work. So, and that words, you're right, have power. The words you tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," or "I can't do this," or the gremlin in your shoulder, and the monkey in your head, or the little devil on your back saying you can't do this, or whatever. But also the words you say, "Oh, I can't," or "I'm not good enough," or "not smart enough," or I can't do that because," or excuse, bullshit, belief. And I say this with love, guys, because we all have it. I had a lot of these things too, right? And we're it's lifelong discovering yourself. What are your limitations? What are your limiting beliefs? What gets in your way? It's lifelong.
mm,
And NLP will give you a quantum leap, a huge leap for that. And that's why I love the tools, because you can have some really fast shifts and really fast growth in people. I mean, it's the tools of the elite. It's tools of the most successful people in the world. Most are trained in some form of NLP. And
mm,
to your point, words have power. You can say, "Oh, I'm so mad," or "I'm so pissed off," uh, and that'll, reinforce that. You could say, "Oh, I'm a tiddly bit miffed," or something silly. You can say, "Oh, I'm a teeny bit miffed right now," or "I'm a little bit pedunkled," and try that, guys, and feel free, Vanessa, to try that too if you're frustrated or mad or pissed or whatever. And you'll because words have so much power. People don't really, words have this. The words you say to yourself have so much power to lift you up or to pull you down. So if you say that to yourself, and I've done it, and you're like, I'm, so frustrated, like I'm a tilly bit miffed, or if someone says something, "Oh, I'm so mad," or "I'm so upset right now," and you can just change your words. It'll change how you feel. It really will. It's fascinating. And again, words you say to someone else have power. Whether you influence them, whether you persuade them, whether you help them, you serve them, you sell to them, or they buy from you, or they want to be friends with you, or date you, or marry you, or whatever. Um, or not. Words have power, and being able to volitionally and consciously use these words and stop the negative words, stop the negative stuff, the disempowering stuff coming out of your mouth. And people are like, "Oh, I'm not negative." I'm like, no, I'm not saying you're talking negative, but even the disempowering way you communicate to yourself, to others, in your head or outside your head, it'll change all that. I mean, I would say 60 to 88,000 thoughts a day people have on average, and most of them are negative unless you're trained in this stuff. Most of the thoughts
mm,
are negative. And that's why a lot of people aren't successful even though they really want it. It's if your brain is telling you you can't do something, or you're not good enough, or you're not worth it, or you've been conditioned or programmed by life and parents and grandparents and culture, society, religion, you've been programmed that you're not good enough or not capable or not smart enough, then that's deep seated. That core belief that's down there, of course, it's going to prevent you from taking action, or you take action and you give up, or you self sabotage, or you start and then you stop, or you blow things up, or just things just don't work for you, no matter what you do. That's why there's that deep seated core belief that we need to rip out and destroy, and these tools will do that, and that's why it's so exciting. And you see, I get so excited because I literally watch people's lives change right before my eyes, before their eyes, and it's just incredible. It's incredible. So
Discovering those beliefs too, I have found, has
talk
been
about
so it's like it's this thing that's inside you that's kind of making you do what you do, right?
exactly
We're
without even
just
knowing
kind
it.
of the
Yeah,
puppet, and it's
yeah,
the hand.
exactly.
And it's like, okay, how do I be the hand? And I remember this one time I was in this vocal improv workshop. It was a 2-day vocal improv workshop, and it was my first time I'd ever done anything like that. And within like 5 minutes, I was like, oh my God, these are my people. This is my thing.
Very cool.
And around 2 o'clock that afternoon, I felt myself suddenly start to withdraw.
Hmm.
And I didn't want to do what we were doing anymore. Da 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 da. And I had to ask, like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, what is going on? Like this morning, this was the most amazing thing. This is still the most amazing thing. What is going on? And I realized that I had hit my happiness
Mm.
quotient,
Yeah,
and there was a part of me that was like, no, no, that's enough happiness now. You've
it
had
doesn't hurt
enough.
it. Yeah,
You're
yeah,
tired. That's all the happiness. And it was literally like I had set a happiness cap, and if I push on that, no, no, that like enough. And that was kind of one of those mind-blowing moments of, wow, that's my thing. Huh. I
yeah.
wonder where else that shows up, right? and
Exactly.
and and watching for that, and then so you can catch it again and like, oh, I know what this is. Okay. Okay. Right. And being able to recognize it in the moment. So it's those
Right on.
insights of how our beliefs play out, and we don't even know. Like, I might have just thought, oh, I'm tired,
Yeah,
or I
yeah.
might have
Or
thought maybe this isn't
whatever.
my thing.
Yeah, but whatever this is, so that I don't really like this after all. Yeah, I mean, I think it's 90% roughly of our behaviors are automatic. It's how we're so efficient and
Yeah.
often doing things, like driving, for example. You can drive and be like in La La Land, you're still safe driving. But you're right, 90% of our stuff is habit and is automatic. And I'm glad that you were able to, because you took NLP, you were able to realize that, wow, okay, this thing is showing up, and how do I
Mhm.
work with it? How do I handle it? Versus believing the BS of you can't do it, I'm not good enough, or this isn't for me, or I can't do it, or not believing in yourself, or this isn't going to work for me, or whatever comes up, whatever people's self defeat is. Oh, it's not going to work, or this like everything else is not going to work for me, or I can't do this, or whatever the belief is. So that's
Mhm.
amazing, and that's a great testament to when you have these tools, you can be conscious of that automatic. And like you said, instead of being the puppet, you're the hand that said, wait, no, 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 I'm sticking with this, I'm going to do it because this is awesome, I'm going to be successful at this. And again, that
Mhm.
through thick and thin, sticking with something and not bailing, which a lot of us do. And I used to
Mhm.
do that too
Mhm.
before I was trained to learn these tools. That's why people aren't, 95, 94% of the world is not successful at what they want, because it's that bailing, that, oh, this means this, or this means I it's not for me, or this means I can't do it, or I'm not good enough, or I'm going to fail, or I have to stop, or this is not for me.
Mhm.
When
Mhm.
the going gets tough, or we're a little bit uncomfortable, or we've got a little taste of something, and then again, that fear or that whatever rears its ugly head. So that
Mhm.
this is amazing, amazing. We can, and maybe we'll talk more about fear next time, because I know we're getting on in time. It's been an amazing conversation,
Mhm.
and maybe we can talk about fears, and start with what you just said as a prelude into our next conversation
Cool.
around
Yeah.
fears and self sabotage, why we give up, why we stop. Because I think a lot of people, and it's interesting, a lot of people either want to do therapy, or go for therapy, or coaching, or training, or want to come to my course, or whatever, and then they bail last minute. They bail because that fear, that gremlin or whatever inside them says, oh, this is not going to work for me, or you can't do this, or you're not good enough, or you're not going to be successful, whatever, that you're not worth it, whatever, you can't do this, you're not smart enough, it won't work for you. That stuff starts to rear its ugly head, the closer you get to something, either success or something that'll cause you to be successful, just like happened with you. And I'm glad you were able
Mm-hmm.
to clamp down on it and say, no, 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 no,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-mm.
in charge of this. That's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Not my real voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's
Mm-hmm.
start with that as a topic next time. Self-sabotage, that voice, that would have, that's amazing. That's amazing. So for
Yeah.
now though, how can people get a hold of you? Again, you're a movement coach. You
Oh, yeah,
how
yeah.
can people get a hold of you, Vanessa?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question because our website is under construction right now. So I guess I would say email.
Cool,
Is
cool.
that, can I give email?
Go ahead. What's the best email for you? Yeah.
Finesse, 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 as in like, finesse, at yoga, finesse.yoga.training@gmail.com.
Got it.
That's at
finesse.yoga.training@gmail.com.
gmail.com. So that's the best way. I mean, our website's like any minute now, so who knows, by the time people are watching this, it might be up. So our business is called Chang and Bell. I'm Bell. Justin is Chang. So Chang and Bell Strength and Health.
Cool.
And we're doing our own podcast, and we're getting all that stuff up and running, and I'm learning all the tech and all that stuff right
Very cool.
now.
For fun.
So yeah, you can look for us there.
Amazing.
And yeah.
Awesome. 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 So Chang and Bell, strength and
Strength and Health.
health. Perfect. Perfect.
Chang and
Is there
Bell.
a Facebook page at all, or it will go to the website in the future?
There is, but I'm thinking we're going to be more present on YouTube and SoundCloud and our website.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm also trying to decide the forums yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Who knows where Facebook will go, but we'll see.
Cool. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And of course, myself, James Robert Elliott, Unleash Your Power coaching training, and Be Unstoppable NLP training. Unleashyourpower.com/training if you want to learn NLP. If you want to become a coach, unleashyourpower.com/coach training. Yeah, just unleashyourpower.com if you want the main link. Everyone have a great weekend, a great week, have a powerful day. And remember, that if those excuses, those voices that, well, is this for me, or do I have enough, or is this enough, or when you want to bail, when you want to give up, just like Vanessa was saying, is this really my truth? Is this really what I want? Am I really, and what is this feeling? What is this feeling of bailing? And why do, like, for example, when I wrote my first book, or my second book technically, but when I wrote my first book, I'm trying to get out of the book, the box here. When I wrote my first book, I was in a book writing seminar, and it was great. I was joining the seminar, and they said at the end of the seminar, "Who wants to write a book? Stand up, get up, come to the back of the room, and we'll sign you up." And I got up and went to walk to the back of the room, and about 2/3 or 3/4 way back, I spun, I twinned, and went back down the aisle and sat back in my seat, and didn't do it for another 2-3 years. Took another book writing workshop. They had another one, did it. And when they said, "Who wants to do?" I literally I ran to the back of the room and threw here's my credit card, charged it before I changed my mind. And again, guys, when you want something truly, and you want to have something, that bailing or those excuses that come up, be so aware of them and so vigilant of because we can make excuses not to do anything. We could probably come up with excuses why not to breathe, right? So be careful if any excuse comes up, and tell that voice or that wherever that party that says that, to shut up and to stop it, and shut down those voices that say no, or I can't, it's too late, it's too early, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too whatever, or I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not enough this, I'm not. Just tell the voice to shut up, or tell it to stop it, and be authoritative when you do that. And it's called a pattern interrupt in NLP, because it'll stop that pattern, and then just continue on. Search for doing what it is you really want, versus letting the gremlins, letting the past, make you bail. And again, I'm happy to talk more about that as well. That is one of the key things that NLP can help you do: persevere and push forward no matter what. And Vanessa and I, either next week or the following, are going to have a talk on self-sabotage and bailing, and just persevering no matter what. I think that's a great talk we'll do next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Awesome.
Amazing. Everyone have a powerful day, and take care.